Yeah. I think so. Let me make sure. That was really confusing, and I'm still not sure quite what happened.
The gate was 4.11 million. The new arena record, we broke our own record with that one. The attendance was just over 16,000 people. Fight of the night, Burgos versus Barboza. Performance of the nights were Christos and Oliveira. They all won $75,000, so congratulations to them.
Dana, before we get into the main event, just want to ask you for a couple medical updates. Jacare, I mean, clearly he had a break there. Do you have any update or speak to him or know his condition?
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm sure he's fine, or I would have heard by now, but no.
And how about Shane Burgos as well? That was just such an odd ending. It was kind of, I don't know, a little scary, I guess.
Yeah, it freaked me out too. He got hit in the temple, and it took a minute for him to react to it. And then the way that he was laying there, I thought something bad happened, and he got right up and was speaking fine, whatever. But we made sure that he went right to the hospital, and we're getting all the tests that need to be done on him done. So, I don't know if you saw me at the bottom of the stairs, but I'm like, you go straight to the hospital. And he said, I'm fine, and I said, we'll let the doctors determine whether you're fine or not. So made sure his corner knew that I wanted him to go straight to the hospital.
Very nice. Appreciate the update. Let's talk about the main event. Charles Oliveira, I mean, a heck of a fighter. Just can you give us your impressions of that fight as a whole and his performance?
Yeah, it was an incredible main event. Both guys had an unbelievable performance in that fight, and Oliveira pulled it out. It was an incredible fight. Yeah. Incredible first round.
Amazing. You think Charles Oliveira been a guy that's been around here for a decade, and had some ups and downs and had some losses. So I'm just curious, along this path, I mean, did you ever look at him? He's clearly talented. He's got a ton of bonuses. But did you ever look and go, that guy's probably going to be a champion someday, or did you have concerns?
You never know. You never know with these guys. You never know what's gonna happen. I mean, this whole thing was based on timing. When you look at the timing of how this all played out, from Khabib's retirement to Conor losing to Poirier to a trilogy, Chandler looking good in the Hooker fight, Chandler, willing to do anything it took to fight anybody, and just all these things played out for this fight to happen tonight here in Houston, and it was an awesome main event.
You know, right away, as soon as champions get crowned, we start asking who their first defense is going to be against. I'm just curious. I mean, you got guys like Justin Gaethje out there, right? And then you've got this huge main event with Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor coming up. Do you look at either of those as kind of having an inside track over the other? Is there a clear path right now that makes sense for them?
I literally haven't even thought about it. Never even crossed my mind yet. You know, we'll get home and start worrying about that stuff.
I'm sure Brazil is going to be excited about seeing him fight again. I mean, we're in this kind of reopening process. Do you have any idea of when the UFC might be back to Brazil? I mean, is that even on the radar yet?
No. I mean, you know, I'm sure some of us that live in Vegas are excited to get home and there's no more masks and all that stuff, but I don't know about the rest of the country or the rest of the world for that matter. I have no idea. Take this one day at a time.
Yeah. And just on the event schedule overall, I mean, second event with a crowd. We know we got Arizona coming up, Vegas. Is there a move to start moving fight nights back to crowds as well, or are we still just pay-per-views now?
Yeah, no. We're not even looking at fight nights. I mean, we didn't even have gates in our budget until October or November. So right now to start trying to find places for fight nights, it just makes no sense. We'll stay at the cozy Apex and do our thing for the rest of the year, I think.
Nice. One name I didn't mention in that title mix is Beneil Dariush. I just want to ask you what you thought about his performance tonight and kind of where he stands. He's kind of been on the outside looking in, but he's got a heck of a run going on now. Yeah,
you know, listen, he went in and he didn't do anything. He didn't do any favors in gaining any new fans tonight, but, you know, it was tough. A tough go against a fan favorite like Tony. He went in, did what he had to do to win, and you know, he'll get another fight now. You know, one of the top 5 guys.
Nice. Last thing for me, I did want to ask you about Tony Ferguson, man. We saw the love for him in the building tonight, man. Super fan favorite, but obviously, you know, lost all 3 rounds. Have you talked to him, and where do you think he stands in his career? Because I think a lot of people are questioning kind of what does he have left.
Yeah, I hear you, and you know, he had a tough 3 rounds. He couldn't stop the takedown. He couldn't get up from underneath Dario and Beneil, and yeah, he had a tough night. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Dana, just going off of that, I think Tony has landed something like 30 strikes in the last 30 minutes he's been in the octagon, which is obviously not a very good sign for a fight.
What has he had?
He's landed 30 strikks in 30 minutes, so obviously not a great output. Do you think this is a case of where that fight with Gaethje just sort of maybe started to wind down his career?
Yeah, it could be that. It could be just, you know, time gets us all, you know. So it's one of those things. I don't know which one or both, but yeah, unfortunately, it's definitely hit Tony.
Yeah, I know you don't do this stuff on the night of the fight, but do you maybe start thinking like, well, look, he's looked so sort of uninspiring that maybe we should start looking at having that conversation with him, or do you let him make that decision still at this point?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. He's tough as hell, though, man. He was in that heel hook, and his ankle definitely popped. I mean, his ankle, the rest of the fight, looked like a golf ball, and maybe even a baseball. And he kept fighting. There's no quitting that dude.
Same with the armbar against Oliveira as well.
Yeah, no, he's tough.
Yeah, maybe too tough for his own good.
Yeah, 100%.
I think the question about the fight nights and stuff, we're always asking you, will we go back to crowds for fight nights? It's probably biased with the Vegas-based media that maybe we don't want to travel every week. We'd rather stay at the Apex.
Right.
Do you think there's a possibility that staying at the Apex versus travel costs, travel expenses, it might work out in the long term that actually we never go back to fight nights with crowds?
No, one of the reasons that I believe personally that this sport has grown as big and as fast as it is because we take this thing all over the world. You know, we go into, you know, Oklahoma and places where people usually don't get fights. So the fight nights are a big part of our brand, and you know, we'll continue to do it when the whole country opens up. But for us right now, I mean, we're trying to figure out what's next for the next pay-per-view after Vegas. And guys, I've been to New York, and I talked to people from Massachusetts and places like this where people aren't doing shit still. I mean, and I was in New York last week. The peninsula one of the biggest, nicest hotels in the world isn't open and hasn't been open for a year and a half. The St. Regis isn't open. Cipriani isn't open. Some of these, I mean, all these places are closed. And maybe some of you here are from New York, but that's crazy to me. You know, the guy in the back, it's crazy to me. When I go there and these places are all still closed, I mean, you guys that live in Vegas, I was in Caesar's Palace the other day. You couldn't fit more people in that place. It was madness. You know, Vegas is rocking and booming. You come to Texas, you go to Florida, you know, people are living normal lives, but you start thinking about where we take this thing next. A lot of these states are still really, really closed down.
Yeah, I don't think COVID's been a thing in Vegas for a while.
Yeah.
But The Ultimate Fighter comes back on TV on June 1st. I know you can't tell us much about it, but how's the show been? How have the fights been?
It's been good. It's good to have it back. It's been a fun season so far, so I'm looking forward to it.
Good antics between the coaches?
Did what?
Any banter between the coaches?
Yeah, we had a little blow up the other day with those two. Got a little heated, but then before I left, we had to sit down and everybody was cool. So kind of up and down.
Okay. Last thing for me, and I know you love answering questions about these guys, but the head of Triller says that you blocked GSP from boxing Oscar De La Hoya and that you made a move for Jake Paul.
Oh my God! Don't even ask me about these idiots. Who gives a shit? Does anybody give a shit?
I guess they
You do? No, I don't give a shit what they think. You think I care what Triller thinks?
No. Are you sick and tired of them mentioning UFC?
I don't even take their calls. This idiot calls me every day, texts me every day. Please answer my call. Please talk to me. Why won't you talk to me? Because I don't give a fuck about you. Do your thing. Leave me alone. Go fucking do whatever it is you're doing. Knock yourself out. I could care less.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. I have no interest in talking to any of those idiots. They can do their thing. Do your thing. Stop talking about me. What do you give a shit what I'm doing? Go do your thing.
At some point, is it getting annoying that they only seem to ever talk about UFC fighters and UFC talent?
Oh, I get it, but yeah, get out of here. What are you doing? I don't even know what you're doing. What is this thing you're trying to build? What are you doing? You know, and why are you talking? What do I have to do with it? What do I have to do with it, or my guys? Do your thing. What are you doing? Are you starting an MMA organization? Or you know? And then you got Oscar, this fucking idiot again in the car that night. Come with us and make more money than you've ever made in your life. We heard that before. Chuck Liddell's here tonight. Grab him. Ask him if he made more money than he ever made in his whole life when he went with Oscar De La Hoya. You know what I mean? But you guys keep asking me about these idiots. You guys know they're a fucking joke, but you keep asking me about them when you know they're a joke. You know this is bullshit. You know they're all full of shit, and you know what I mean? But this is what you want. You want me to do this, and I tried not to do it, and I can't help myself. But I don't care what they're doing. Fucking go away. Go do whatever you're doing. Stop texting me, stop calling me, and stop fucking asking the media to ask me things, okay? Beat it. Get lost.
Derek Lewis is back here doing a guest fighter scrum. He was saying he was hoping to make the fight against Francis officially official. Have you had an opportunity to talk to him while you're in Houston?
Ask me that question again.
Derek Lewis is back here saying he was hoping that his fight against Francis would become official, and he was hoping to talk to you at some point. Have you had a chance?
Yeah. No, listen, Derek Lewis is next in line. He's the guy who deserves the shot at the heavyweight championship, and yes, we will get that fight done. And, you know, we're not talking about it yet because it's probably not going to be till mid or late August, so, yeah.
And as of right now, the winner would probably still get Stipe, unless this Jon Jones situation.
Yeah, well, Jon made it very clear he won't fight Stipe, so, yeah.
Data back here.
Yep.
Switching to other people, give us some insight on the Andrea KGB Lee and that performance that she had earlier.
Yeah, no, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. She looked good. I expected that fight to be exciting, and it was, and good for her.
What about Lando and that crazy fight?
What about what?
Lando Vanda?
Yeah. What about it?
What do you think about that? That kind of set the tone for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I thought the whole card tonight was awesome, man. I think from the first fight of the night until the main event, you know, it was a great card. These kids, just like in Jacksonville, man. These kids, I was telling them yesterday in in the fighter meeting. It's like every week we go out and we get ready for these fights, and these kids just keep delivering and delivering, and it's just so much more exciting now being back in these sold-out, packed arenas with the fans here, and it just couldn't be any more fun than it is right now.
What do you do with Kaylin Shahagan? She's in a weird position because she's beating the contenders. She got smashed by the champ, but she's a very quality. It's like she's in a weird no woman's land.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and that's the problem when you have somebody that's as good as she is. You know, you got these contenders that are coming up, and you know, she's beating them. It's a good question that I don't have an answer for, sir.
And then he kind of alluded to Jon. Will we see Jon in 2021 fight? Because he fought before the pandemic, so there'll be almost a whole 2 years suspension Jon Jones. I know you want to get there with the live gate. You got to take advantage of that, right?
Listen, that's up to Jon Jones. You know, whether he wants to fight or not. You know, there's fights available. They're here. I'm going to keep making fights every weekend, doing fights. You know, if Jon Jones wants to fight, he can. If he doesn't, he doesn't have to. Nobody's going to force Jon Jones to fight. He's had a great run. He's got an incredible legacy. You know, I personally see him as the GOAT right now. You got guys that are nipping at his heels like Usman and some other guys out there. You know, it's up to him. He can fight this summer, or he can never fight again. I mean, that's up to him.
You switch gears on me now. You say you think he's the GOAT. You don't think he needs another belt? Because you've seen other people do it, but very few people have done it. So if it's that easy to do, everybody would be doing it. Do you think he needs that to put that GOAT stamp so it won't be no debate?
Well, yeah, I mean, he could do it. I mean, that's like Brady going out and winning another Super Bowl with the Bucks. Obviously, going up to heavyweight, it would be tough to argue, you know, if he wins the title that he's not the GOAT. But right here, right now, I mean, he could retire, and I still consider him the GOAT right now until somebody else accomplishes what he has.
Final question for me. With Chandler getting knocked out decisively, does this switch to Conor and Poirier being the #1 contender fight? Or is that still too far out?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to see how these fights play out. And
I'm trying to help you with your job.
No, I hear you. Thank you.
Hey, Dana.
Yep.
During fight week, the CDC came out with their new rules that you don't have to wear a mask if you're vaccinated. Did you notice any difference this week compared to the week in Florida?
No, I don't think so. You know, in Florida, I saw people wearing masks and not wearing masks. I saw some people with masks and people not wearing masks here, which you guys know how I feel about that. It's the way it should be. If you don't want to wear a mask, you know, you should be able to walk around and go do what you want to do without, you know, big mouth people shooting their mouth off. And if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. And people shouldn't be shooting their mouth off at you either. So hopefully we can get to a normal place where people who are comfortable with masks can wear them, and people who aren't don't have to wear them.
Do you feel any vindication of, you know, what you went through to get back to work with the UFC, and now they're changing stance and leading the way to getting back to normalcy?
Guys, I can't. You know, if you look at what's going on with us right now, I mean, it's like a rocket ship. So I knew when I was doing it, it was the right thing to do. Now I know it was the right thing to do. So I've never questioned it from the beginning. So I guess you're asking me, does it feel great to be right? Fuck yeah, it feels great to be right.
Have any states reached out to you and said, hey, bring the show here. We need business. We need jobs?
Yeah, well, Pete, you know, Dropic, who handles all the arenas, I know that arenas have been reaching out to him. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you who. But you know, we'll see how this thing plays out. Who's going to open up? And you know, the problem is that I won't go anywhere that's not 100%. I'll only go to places that are 100% open.
Any idea where we'll be in August for the pay-per-view then?
I don't know yet.
Charles Oliveira, you know, jumped the fence, came over. I'm sure you're kind of surprised by his reaction afterwards. He came up to you. What did he say to you?
Yeah, he said, thank you for everything that you've done for me. Tonight was the biggest opportunity of my life, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it and how much this means to me. And, so he's a great kid.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Dana, the short guy in the back. Sorry,
Yep.
I'm loud. Short, loud voice. Talk about the city of Houston in this event, this whole entire week. It was about 16 months ago that we were here in February, and then all the stuff happened. And then what do you expect from Houston this week, the city and the fans?
I knew that the first two events that we would probably do when we came back would be Florida and Texas. So Houston has always been our go-to place. And Tillman Fertitta called me a couple months ago and said, Houston needs you, man. We need the UFC. So that's why I was originally planning to come here first. I had talked to your governor, who had opened up the state, and I was working on getting this Houston show done, and it looked like we were going to come here first. But that didn't work out, so we ended up in Jacksonville and then here second. But the state has always been really good to the UFC, and the city of Houston has been unbelievable to us. So it's good to be back. It was good to be in here tonight. It was good to be here this week. And, me and all my staff and everybody involved had a blast here this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Down here to your left or right, or one of them.
Hey, yep,
I'm not really sure
gotcha.
which one. Oliveira, obviously UFC champion now from Brazil. There was like a little bit of a lull for Brazil for a little while, for a couple years. Is there a little bit of a resurgence with Oliveira and Figueiredo possibly?
I don't know if there's ever been a lull in Brazil. I mean, these guys have been dominant in this sport since day one. But a lull is when half the champions aren't Brazilian, I guess. But I don't know if there's ever going to be a time when Brazil doesn't have some sort of dominance in the UFC.
What do you do now with Michael Chandler? I mean, he came so close to winning that fight tonight. He came close to being UFC champion. Where do you go with him?
Well, listen, he's a great kid. He's one of the best in the world. And, he's not going anywhere. There's a lot of fun fights to make with him still. The big complaint going into this fight was that he didn't have enough experience in the UFC. So if he won, the good part would have been there's tons of guys he didn't fight yet. And, I guess that's still the good part. There's still lots of matchups for him.
75K was the bonuses for tonight. Why? Why the bump?
Tony Ferguson, Dana White privilege.
That was a pretty good line.
That was fucking incredible. Incredible. It's one of the best I've ever heard.
Had you heard that one before?
No, I never. No. Rampage used to call me Dana. It's good to be white. That's the second best one.
Last thing for me, a couple of weird scores from the judges tonight, and
I agree.
Which is, when you guys come to Texas, that kind of happens pretty frequently. There are good judges in Nevada and other places. Like, why not, instead of having some of the local guys, and the guy that scored that Lando Venata fight for Grundy 30-27, I think he's only judged 5 events in his life. Why not fly in somebody instead of having the local guy?
Yeah, that's a problem. I agree with you 100%. And I know that Mark Ratner is working with these guys, on stuff like that to try to make it better.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey Dana, just one question. Now that tonight's come and gone, do you think we'd get some sort of answer with what's next for Justin Gaethje, or are we going to wait till the fight in July?
Ask me that again, Shmo. What'd you say?
Do you think we'll get an announcement for what would be next for Justin Gaethje or after tonight, or do you think we'll wait for what goes on in July?
I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Let us get back to Vegas, matchmaking meeting on Tuesday, and we'll see where we go.
Dana, with the way tonight went, and obviously the crowd, is it out of the question to bring a show back to Texas by the end of this year?
I tell you guys all the time, man. I'll come to Texas every weekend. I love this place. Again, it's all going to depend on how the rest of the country and the rest of the world plays out over the next 6 to 8 months. I could see us doing Texas and Florida again this year if stuff doesn't change. Cool? Have a safe trip home, everybody. Thank you, guys.
emotion is like for you right now after that crazy fight?
I mean, first off, hats off to Charles. Hats off to Charles for surviving that first round, surviving their barrage. Secondly, huge thank you to the UFC for this opportunity. You know, I just saw Dana and Hunter and those guys back there. I really feel like I'm living a dream. Win, lose, or draw. But you know, here we are. Got a busted up eye and another loss on my record. But hey, I've come back from worse. Felt like everything was clicking in there. Just got caught, zigged when I should have zagged, and here we are talking to you without the belt on this table. But we're gonna keep moving forward as stuff moves fast.
It looked like before the fight started, you were kind of taking a moment to like soak everything in. I mean, it was a pretty amazing atmosphere in there. Was there any kind of different feel for you? I mean, was it difficult at all to deal with all the circumstances surrounding this event?
No, gosh, man, this is. I feel like I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I do. I was just enjoying the moment, enjoying the fans back. God, I love fighting with the fans. I loved being there with the fans. This is one of the reasons why we do what we do, because of the people that buy the pay-per-views, the people that show up to the events, the people that cheer, boo, you know, talk trash on Twitter, whatever. It doesn't matter. The highs, the lows, the happy, and everything in between, man. The fans make it what it is, and I just felt like I was in the right moment. A smile was on my face again. I feel like I'm fighting on borrowed time still. You know, there was moments in my career where I never thought I'd end up here. I never thought that the door would open, and now it has. And the first one was the highest of highs, and this one's, it's not the lowest of lows, because Charles Oliveira is a world class. Fighting it for the UFC title is a world class opportunity. But as my son knows, every young man falls, but every young man gets back up. And the sun will rise tomorrow, and when I fly home without the belt, we got some explaining to do, but we're going to figure it out.
What were your thoughts in the opening round as it was unfolding? Like you said, I mean, you hurt him, but then, of course, he got to your back as well. I think people were, you know, obviously that's a tough spot to be in with him. So back and forth, incredible round. What did you think about it?
I loved it. I loved to be able to show that I could stay composed against the best grappler on the planet. I somewhat kind of let him take my back. I like to let guys take my back, get that one-on-one, and I spun around and got into his guard just like I always do in a lot of positions. One of those deals where I didn't feel like I was in danger at all, but that was kind of dumb because you're always in danger if Charles Oliveira has your back. But I feel comfortable in that scenario. Should I have let it get there? Probably not. But it's part of it, and you know, we fought through it, we wrestled through it, we anti-jiu-jitsu'd through it. Turns out I lost on the feet, not on the ground.
And I know you'll probably want to go back and watch it and break it down, but in your mind, what did happen in round two? I mean, did he just land the right shot, or do you feel like you got a little too aggressive? What do you think happened?
You can never get too aggressive, man. Aggressive is my style, aggressive is me, aggressive is who I am. I don't know, it's the fight game, man. It's 4-ounce gloves, and you zig when you should have zagged, and before you know it, Charles Oliveira's getting the belt wrapped around his waist instead of yours. So, you know, here we are. I've been here before, after losses. The sport moves quickly. I am still world class. Anybody, you know, next to get me into that in line for the title again, I believe I can beat them and beat anybody in the top 5, so we'll see what happens.
Last thing for me, I mean, as you said, you'll be back and you'll try to get back to that belt within a year. But ideally, this last 9 months has been pretty insane, what you've done. So I imagine some family time might be enjoyable too. So I guess as you sit there right now, ideally, when would you like to fight again against whoever it ends up being?
No idea, man. This is the biggest, the baddest, and the greatest promotion on the planet, with the biggest, the baddest, and greatest promoters on the planet, within the most electrifying division in the sport. There's no shortage of great names. There's no shortage of great opportunities. So we'll see what happens. You know, I would have won tonight. There would have been definitely more time off probably. But I just want to be a husband and a father again too. You know, I want to go give my time to them too. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what's next.
Michael, I'm sure this is very fresh, but I remember in the lead up to this, you thought that sometimes Charles, if he faced adversity, would wilt. Do you have a newfound respect? I know you respected him anyway, but do you respect him even more now, knowing that he actually was able to survive some adversity tonight?
Yeah, you know, he showed that he had the gall to get through that. I mean, got dropped, got hurt, you know. I mean, I was on top of him. He's really long and did a really good job of tying me up, so I couldn't really rain down too hard of punches or elbows. But he definitely got through some adversity tonight. So I still stand by what I said. I don't hype up fights by being facetious or overstating things. I called it like I saw it, and he showed tonight that he is, you know, tougher than a lot of us thought he was. So hats off to him. He is our champion now at 155, and I'm coming for the belt again.
I think the UFC has really enjoyed you in the promotion because you're the sort of guy who makes a point of taking opportunities when they arise. Is that going to, you mentioned you want to take some time off to be a father and a husband, but is that still going to be your attitude? Just grab opportunities whenever they arise and try and keep as busy as possible for this promotion so you can get another shot?
You know, I don't know. I just I take each day as it comes, every opportunity as it comes. I have phenomenal management. This whole thing's been orchestrated from the very beginning. It's bigger than the UFC. It's bigger than myself. It's bigger than the decisions that we're making. So, you know, I'll be back in the gym this week. I'm not going to be sparring and doing all that stuff, but I'll be back in the gym this week. I'll be putting some miles in this week. I never take a rest. And we'll see what happens next. We're definitely going back to the drawing board. I will be champion. I will be UFC champion by the time my career is up. And I got a taste of it tonight. Fell short. But as I said, every young man falls, but every young man gets back up.
Michael back here. Would it be safe to say before your career's over with, you got to see Charles one more time in the octagon, regardless if he has the belt again, or does it matter? It's all about the belt versus the person.
Yeah, to me, it's all about time, circumstance, the belt, the division. You know, I mean, I've never been the kind of guy who needs to get a loss back. You know, Charles Oliveira was the better man tonight. I zigged when I should have zagged. The fight ended how it ended. I hold no animosity towards him or anybody else that I've lost to in my career at this point. We'll see. You know, this division moves quickly. The UFC moves quickly. This is the biggest, baddest, and fastest moving promotion on the planet. So my name will always be in the mix, whether it's Charles or any of the other guys in the top 10. So we'll see what happens next.
How did you feel when you went back to your stool after that taxing first round? And does it feel good to see that he's choked out many people in those positions he had you in, that on the big stage, that where you working in the gym, it's something, you're doing something right, because we've seen many people get put to sleep by that same man in that same position.
Yeah, you know, I mean, in there, I don't know, I've felt at home inside that octagon every single moment that I've been in there. I was born for this, I was bred for this. I lost tonight, that doesn't mean I wasn't born and bred for it. Charles Oliveira on my back didn't scare me. Getting the hand control and then eventually getting out of it. I actually don't even remember how I got out of it at this point, but I'll go back and watch the fight. And, you know, just making adjustments. I feel confident in every single position inside the confines of mixed martial arts competition. And Charles got the best of me tonight. If we fight again, we'll see what happens. But all I know is I'm coming for the belt eventually.
And for that, to prolong that chase, with you being a mild-mannered guy, and people tend to talk a lot of noise or shit, if you want to say, in general, do you think you might have to do that in the future with all these people that you have to see, the Poiriers and Conors that engage in that, and they speak English, so it's directed towards you? Do you think you may have to get out of character to get back to where you want to go to? Because that seems to be the theme of this promotion.
No, not at all, man. I truly believe me being exactly who I am and authentically and unapologetically me works for me. It works for the promotion. You've seen the way the reception that I've gotten. For a lot of years, I was outside of this organization, thinking that I would never come to this organization because that exact thought process, that exact thread was maybe what the UFC was looking for. I think I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong in thinking that. I think Dana likes the way that I act. I think the UFC brass, Hunter Campbell, they like the way that I act, the way that I talk, what I stand for, and I just want to be unapologetically me, and I encourage everybody to do that in every single industry. But I'm going to be who I am as long as the day is long, and I'm going to come back from this and put on a streak.
And final question for me, do you think the experience and being in this game 13 years will help you get to where you want to go? Because some people might say, hey, the stage was too big for him, when for me it seemed like it wasn't, just didn't go your way. But what you want to say to those people that say, oh, the stage was too big for him in the UFC, he shouldn't have got that shot after all?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was at home in there. I mean, if you don't think I'm world class, that's fine. Do your thing. I think the people who understand the sport, the people who've seen my resume, who've seen my body of work, who've seen what I've done in the sport, the things that I've come through, just like every man has in this sport. Then I'm world class, and I can hang with these guys. Zigged when I should have zagged, and ended up with Charles Oliveira getting the belt around his waist. So. To those people, I say thank you, because I'm going to work harder.
Hey, Mike, down here to your right. First round, you had him against the cage. You hurt him. He was evading, and you were very close to finishing there, landing some really good elbows. How close do you think that really came to ending the fight?
Man, I don't know. I remember thinking, holy cow, it's about to happen. Probably a dumb thought. Should have just made it happen. Right? Out there thinking about making it happen instead of making it happen, man. Just make it happen, Michael. No, I mean, yeah, that right there, case in point, Charles Oliveira showed some gall, I know I hit him with a hard shot, and he was down there kind of doing the head bob thing. Benson Henderson used to do that too, kind of a weird thing, but it's effective, man. You can't get a beat on the head. And you're also trying not to punch him in the back of the head, which I shouldn't have worried about that because nobody else does. But I'm also trying to work within the confines of the sport, the rules. But yeah, no, I mean, hats off to him. He came through some adversity because I think he was pretty darn close to me getting the belt around my waist.
The slam when he was on your back, it seemed like it busted him open. Did the back of your head collide with his face?
I don't know. I mean, I hope something good came out of it because that was probably a dumb idea. But it was probably pretty entertaining too. So I don't know. No, I think I don't know. Actually, I don't know where that cut came from, but it was bloody. There was a lot of blood, so made for a good fight as long as it lasted.
Some people, including Tony Ferguson at the press conference the other day, were saying, you didn't deserve this title shot so soon in your UFC career. Well, you got the shot, but now you can climb your way back and have some fights under your belt in the UFC. Are you kind of embracing that idea maybe now? Like, all right, maybe you say I don't deserve it now, I'll deserve it when I come back.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to embrace the reality of the situation and the nature of the business. This is the business that we chose. I still love fighting for the UFC. Man, I feel like I am in the place where I'm supposed to be. I feel like, just like the very beginning of my career, I got shot out of a cannon and fought Eddie Alvarez in the first 18 months of my career. Probably a little bit too green, a little bit too young. This time I got pushed to the title shot after a couple fights. I by no means was not ready for this. I was 100% ready, 100% prepared. I have the best coaches, best team around me. I kept saying it. You couldn't have scripted it any better. This seemed like this was going to be it. It seemed like it was a foregone conclusion. And I don't think I ate those words by saying that. I don't think I think I had the confident expectancy that great things were going to happen inside that octagon tonight. And some great things happened, and we put on a great show, and Charles Oliveira was the better man. Charles Oliveira is the lightweight champion of the world right now. And we'll come back.
Thanks, Mike.
Over here, right behind him. One thing that Dana said about you just before you came out was that it created a lot of possibilities that you basically haven't faced any top UFC lightweights. In looking kind of across the industry at the UFC over the last 10 years, you said that, this isn't personal for you, it's not animosity, but was there anyone stylistically or competitively that you thought, man, I'd like to fight him someday, or I'd like to prove myself against him?
All of them, I mean, I was the guy outside the UFC wanting to fight them all, till I came in and all of them said no. Now that I have a loss, maybe someone will say yes. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. No names stick out right now. Only name that sticks out is my wife Bree and my son Hap, and the family and friends that are here. I want to hang out with them, and we'll go from there. So we'll see.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Here we go, folks.
Neil, congratulations on the victory. I'm sure, finishes are always better than decisions, but, you won every round. So give us your thoughts. I mean, how did you feel about the performance overall?
How did he not tap to that heel hook? Like, his knee popped, and it popped loud. I saw his face change for a second, and then he went back to normal, and then he started kicking me in the body. And then, that up kick he hit me with, that was pretty good. I'll give him that. That's my thought on the fight so far.
Fair enough. Did you go in intending to grapple as much as you did? I mean, obviously he's pretty dangerous there. Did you want it to be such a grappling heavy contest?
At first, I had prepared for the stand up. It was gonna be, I was just gonna, show the world that like doesn't matter who it is in terms of stand up, but I also told you, I want to be a champion. And to be a champion, you got to be able to stick to the game plan. It's not always being a bonus fighter. And, I mentioned that before. And I really felt like I had such a big advantage in the grappling. And then after the first round, at the end of the first round, I felt his arms tired. And I just said, why am I going to strike with this guy if I have such an advantage here?
Obviously, the crowd tonight was very much in favor of Tony. I mean, you could tell that from the beginning. But then, you got pretty thoroughly booed afterwards. I mean, what were your thoughts on that? Did you just have to understand because it's Tony Ferguson, or did you take that a little personal?
Nah, it's not personal. But I will say this. They better not be fickle. The same fans that just cheer Tony on like that, they better cheer for him every single fight. I better not see those stupid comments about Tony, he's done, he's this, he's that. You're going to support him throughout his whole career. Don't support him just for the day, and now that he's not doing well, forget about him. So that's the only thing, man. If you're going to be a Tony fan, be a Tony fan for life. I don't want to see that crap about him, this and that. I see so many negative comments online, man. It just makes you want to stay away from it.
That's awesome, man. Did you get a chance to take in the title fight at all? Obviously, the lightweight belt was on the line. Did you get to watch any of it?
I didn't actually. I only saw the finish, and only for a bit. I didn't see what happened. I didn't see the takedown either in the first round. So I'm gonna definitely watch it, obviously.
Nice. Last thing for me, I know you're taking some time off. You got the baby coming soon. I guess because you need a few months off, are there names that make sense to your fights, or do you have to wait and see how things play out while you're off? Because, you're not normally calling out type, but it worked last time for you.
We got to see how the landscape changes in the next couple of months. There's Dustin is fighting Conor, big fight, obviously, possible #1 contender. Justin, the scary man, Gaethje, is... He's on deck, and he wants blood, so he's out there. I'm trying to think who else is there. Islam is fighting Thiago Moises. I don't get that fight, but I guess he couldn't find anybody. I think Islam is up there. He's a contender, so we just got to pay attention to who's going to be there available for me. And I'm thinking either December or next year.
We didn't get a chance to speak to Tony tonight, but you said you heard his knee pop. If you had to guess, what sort of damage is he carrying right now?
Man, I don't even want to guess, man. I hope nothing happened to his knee. Because that's where your ACL goes. When you go for a heel hook and it pops like that, your ACL could be gone. And I know he's a superhuman, and we've heard it over and over again, but I don't want that on anybody. I don't want that recovery for him. I hope he's fine.
When he didn't tap, but he did grimace in pain, I don't know if he yelled, but he certainly showed the pain in his face. What's going through your mind when he's not tapping to that?
Okay. Shock is the first thing, but I'm I saw him grimace, and then I went for the same thing, and he just zombie mode and started kicking me. I was fine, I'll come on top, you jerk. That's how I was thinking. Man, let's just end this. But nah, he's no, I'm good. Let's just continue this crap. I was all right.
Do you think there's anyone else in the UFC who doesn't tap in that situation? I
don't know. It popped pretty bad. I mean, more power to you. I hope I could do that if it's necessary.
Obviously, at the press conference, he kind of came at you a little bit, and came at everyone, really. But you guys sort of had a moment in the cage together after the fight. Was there any hard feelings? You guys get to clear the air at all in there, or what was said?
No, man. I get it. Tony's fought for everything he's ever gotten. Like he's had to dig deep, and he's had such a crazy career. He had the best streak in the lightweight division, and then he never even got the title. You know, I get the bitterness. I get why he's bitter, but like, why I can't hold anything against him. I got a little upset because he said something about Justin, and you know, you guys don't understand how kind Justin has been to me. He thinks I went out to Justin first. Justin, like, before he was in the UFC, he was WSOF, right? That's how you say it. World Series of Fighting champion, and he ran errands for my wife and I, and he bought us groceries. And then when I was on my slump, when I was like struggling, I was gonna fight Thiago Moises, and I hadn't won in 2 years. He obviously lets us into his gym to train, and I was like, man, this is great. Onyx, beautiful gym. I was like, awesome. And then he's like, oh yeah, what are you doing for training? I was like, oh, we're gonna do some MMA grappling today. He's like, oh, cool, I'll jump in. And at first I was like, man, I'm like 10 days out, a little bit stressed out about it. He jumps in, he just lets me beat him up. He literally just let me beat him up for the whole, I think I did 2 rounds with him for the whole 10 minutes. Like, he didn't need to do that. I know he's better than that. I know he could have, you know, he could have put it on me too, but just to help me build my confidence, he did that for me. So that's one of the reasons why, like, I got a little upset at the press conference. But and obviously Ollie, I love Ollie. Ollie's been so good to me. He's taken care of me, all, you know, my whole career. So those are the things. But you know, you look at it afterwards, and you're like, I'm just being a baby. Just get over it. Understand where he's coming from. Get over it.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Back here, Beneil. Give us some insight to your mindset. You went from the guy that's, hey, I'm just here just to fight, to putting on a pretty nice performance, getting the biggest win in your career, to talking to us. How'd you keep steady with basically being in hostile territory, even though he's not from here?
It wasn't, I don't know how to explain it. You know, you know, people know the story of David and Goliath, right? But people don't know this. Before David fought Goliath, all of the Goliath people, the Philistines, they were screaming for him. They were just like, Goliath, Goliath. They were just chanting his name. So I just thought to myself, it's just another day for me, man. Like, the victory is the Lord's. Let's see what happens. Let's go.
And your music choice to come in, I'm from Texas. I'm from Dallas. This is the Bible Belt, as everybody knows. Texas and Louisiana. Why'd you pick the Lauren Daigle? Because you know she's from Louisiana.
So, I mean, I love that song, and when I hear that song, I break down a little bit. Like like, you can be the toughest guy in the world, but when you understand grace, it breaks you down, and that song does it for me. So I don't need to be the toughest person in the world, you know. I don't need to be a savage. I need to be a servant. I need to be a servant in all the things I do. But for those 15 minutes in that octagon, I get to be a selfish savage. And the Lord uses even that. But before I go out for that, I need to be reminded that this is my 15 minutes of selfishness. In reality, I'm a servant now.
How much did you being a southpaw give Tony problems? Because it seemed that he never figured it out, and you were tagging him all night.
I think after the first takedown, he just, you know, I know he's the cardio king, and he has great cardio, but like, the lactic acid was going hard. He just didn't have the same speed after the first round.
And final question for me, I know we have no control of the rankings. I don't even know who these people are, but do you walk around now when you have your kid, congratulations on that, as a top, do you feel like, hey, I'm a top 5 fighter. I'm in that crew now. I'm one of those guys.
Nah, man, I don't care. I just, in reality, in terms of fighting, I'll be honest with you. The only thing I want to do is I want to fight, and I want to fight the best people in the world. You know, like those 15 or 25 minutes inside that octagon, I don't care about broken bones. I don't care about blood. I don't care about like anything. I get to just disappear, and I can't believe the Lord will even use that like the most selfish part of me, the worst part of me, the Lord will use that, and He'll even be glorified in that. So I'm just grateful for that I can have those 15 minutes, I can have those 25 minutes. It's just my joy.
Beneil, congratulations on the victory.
Hey,
Gotta ask you, post-fight victory speech, of all the people to call out, you call out Elon Musk. What's the backstory behind this?
December, I ordered my car. Bro, I ordered the safest car, they told me. It's the best car for my pregnant wife. And I'm still waiting. Elon, bro, what's the deal, man? You told me March. We're coming up in June. I want my car. Come on, bud. I know, big fan, but this is disrespect.
Was part of the strategies going for the takedown? Were you surprised how easy it was for you to get what you wanted?
Yes and no. I like after the first takedown, I was like, oh man, surprised. I was a little bit surprised, but then I just remembered I wrestle so much. I didn't wrestle in college and in high school. I had like a month of wrestling, but I wrestle so much. I love wrestling. Like I like to watch. I think. Was it? Yeah, Friday night. Well, it's Sunday now, I guess. But Friday night, I was watching Yazdani and David Taylor like go at it, and Yazdani has such a good underhook, and he was able to start scoring points. But then I saw Taylor just keep that same pace, takedown, and then he broke him, and I was like, Yazdani's no joke. He's a cardio machine, but like constant takedowns break people, and that's something that just kind of stuck with me. So Friday night watching Taylor actually really inspired me.
First time fighting in over a year with having fans here. Tony had the loudest chairs in the building. How did you stay so even keel and not let that get to you?
Man, the noise just disappears. When I see the man in front of me that I want to fight, the noise just disappears, man. It just goes mute. I could hear my coach, I could hear his coaches, and that's it. It all disappears. I just want to, at that point, I just want to break somebody in front of me.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Hey, Beneil, down here to your right. What's up, man?
Hey, brother. How are you?
Are you aware that Elon Musk is kind of one of your bosses now?
Excuse me? Whoa.
He's a new member of the board of Endeavor now that they went public.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Elon, but I'm not sorry. I'm sticking with what I said. Mr. Musk, no more Elon.
That's all I got for you.
That's all good then.
A little over a year ago, after your knockout victory over Drakkar, you announced plans to start building the Orphanage in Haiti.
Correct.
How's that project been going amid the pandemic, and is there any updates on that?
It's amazing. It's built. We have a beautiful house in Cap Haitian. We have a little over 20 kids, and I'm hoping to go visit them. This is the tricky part. I'm scared my wife's gonna be early, so I got a men's conference next week, and then right away I gotta go there for a couple of days, see all my kids, and then come back. I've already gone there twice since, so it's going great. We're raising these boys and girls to be just devout, solid Christians who are gonna change the culture in that country. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Tracy.
Essa parte eu não preciso fazer.
Charles, congratulations on an incredible performance. We saw the emotion in the arena and how much it meant to you, but as you're sitting there right now, can you just tell us kind of what this means to you?
Charles, parabéns por uma grande performance. Nós vimos você lá na arena, as emoções você mostrou, mas o que significa isso para você agora?
Gratidão. Gratidão a Deus por tudo que eu já passei, por tudo que eu venho vivendo, por eu poder vir aqui e mostrar para as pessoas que a gente pode.
Gratitude. Gratitude to God, gratitude for everything that I've been through, gratitude to be able to come here and show everybody that I can do this.
You've been building to this moment for 11 years in the UFC, so I wonder, as you were in there tonight, you know, the crowd's back in the building, it's a huge moment. Did it feel different than any other fight, or were you able to keep yourself kind of in the same place?
Você levou 11 anos a chegar aqui, né? E agora com o público na arena, foi diferente?
Cara, eu fui o primeiro com o público, sem público, né? E agora eu tinha que abrir. Eu gosto disso aqui, eu gosto desse calor. Não importa se eles vão vaiar, se eles vão torcer, eu gosto desse calor. Eu gosto de mostrar para as pessoas que eu sou capaz.
The first fight was without public, but I really like the public. I like to hear them boo and I like to hear them applaud. It's a part of me. I like the heat.
The opening round was back and forth. He hurt you, but you got to his back as well. So how did you feel after the first 5 minutes the fight was playing out?
O primeiro round foi lá e cá, parecia que estava machucado. Como que você achou que a luta estava se transcorrendo?
Tem que ser difícil, não pode ser fácil. A gente está na nata, né? Tá entre os melhores do mundo, né? Entre os melhores do mundo. Então, a gente tem que dar o respeito ao Michael Chandler, né? Ex-campeão, foi contratado para isso. Então, foi difícil, tinha que ser difícil. Mas olha só, se eles virem trocar porrada comigo, minha mão vai entrar, minha mão é pesada. Se eles me botar para baixo, eu vou fazer meu jiu-jitsu. É como eu falei, todas as vezes que eu entrar aqui dentro, eu venho para chocar o mundo mais uma vez.
I knew it was going to be hard. I mean, it's cream of the crop. They brought Michael Chandler here to win. You know, but I knew that if it was in the striking department, I could strike with him, and I knew if it went down, I'd use my jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Round two, you came out aggressive, landed the big shot early. Was that the plan? Were there any, adjustments made in between to say, hey, we got to turn up the aggression on the feet?
No segundo round, você veio agressivo e conseguiu acertar um golpe forte. Foi essa a estratégia?
Eu sou agressivo do começo ao fim. Eu só ando para frente. Então a minha estratégia é eu entro aqui para vencer. É como eu falo. Vocês querem um cara que fique falando, que dê show falando, não coloque eu para sentar aqui não. Vocês querem ver show, coloca dentro do octógono. Dentro do octógono eu dou show.
I always fight aggressive. I always walk forward. If you want somebody that's going to come and talk, I'm the wrong person. I put on the show inside the octagon. That's what I do.
I'm sure you'd like to dominate every fight, but you got tested in this one. I wonder if you kind of like that, because there's then this narrative about your career that if you get pushed, maybe you won't respond well. Michael even pointed it out beforehand, but you were pushed and you responded well. Do you appreciate that?
No primeiro round foi round duro, né? Você tem uma narrativa que você às vezes sucumbe com a pressão, mas não aconteceu. Você superou. Era isso que você queria mostrar?
É engraçado, né? Vê só. As pessoas, quando vêm aqui para lutar, elas tentam entrar na minha cabeça de alguma forma, né? O Michael falou o tempo inteiro que quando as pessoas me batiam, eu recuava, eu não aguentava a pressão. Cara, ele viu isso aí há quantos anos atrás? Há quantas lutas atrás? Passou. É uma nova era, é um novo Charles, é um novo momento. Eu venho provando e falando isso para todo mundo, é um novo momento, é uma nova era. Não fica falando do passado, vamos falar hoje do presente. O presente são 9 vitórias seguidas. Ou eu nocauteio ou eu finalizo. Eu não venho para brincar. Eu venho para fazer acontecer.
You know, people, when I come to fight them, they try to get in my head and say that, but they don't understand that was the past. That was 8 fights ago. Now, I come here to win. You know, I don't come here to play. And so don't think like that. That's the past. This is now.
Eu falei, eu estou bem mentalmente, fisicamente e espiritualmente. Eu mostrei isso para vocês lá em cima.
I said, I'm well physically, mentally, and spiritually, and I showed that up there.
Nice. as champion, of course, fighters have to come to you now. You don't have to seek them out. But are there fights that you want to see, you know, whether it be Justin Gaethje, whether it be, you know, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor winner? Are there fights that you want, or what do you see for your future?
Como campeão, agora eles têm que vir atrás de você. Mas tem lutas que te interessam? Por exemplo, o Dustin Poirier, o Justin Gaethje, o Conor?
Olha, eu batalhei bastante para chegar até aqui, né? Agora eles também têm que batalhar um pouco para poder chegar. Todo mundo vem falando da luta entre Dustin Poirier e o Conor McGregor. Vamos esperar, vamos ver quem vai ser. Meu empresário vai trabalhar sobre isso, vamos ver o que vai acontecer. Eu só quero ir para casa descansar, curtir um pouco esse cinturão. E vamos ver quem é o próximo.
I battled hard to get here. Everybody's talking about who it's going to be next, Poirier or Conor. You know, I'll leave that to my manager, and I'm going to go home and rest.
Last thing for me, now that you're UFC lightweight champion, can we get you to admit you're not a featherweight?
E a última coisa de mim, nós podemos fazer você admitir que você não é peso-pena?
Ah, cara, eu pedi bastante isso, né? A gente pediu bastante, conversei muito isso com o Macaco, várias vezes eu conversei que eu queria voltar de novo para os pesos penas, só que eu não quero mais. Eu sou um peso leve, verdadeiramente, não só porque eu sou campeão hoje, mas se eles me dessem a oportunidade de lutar pelo cinturão, com o tempo a gente desceria. Se o Dana White me der a oportunidade de lutar diretamente pelo cinturão do peso leve, eu desço pro peso leve, pro peso pena.
Me and Nakako talked a lot about this, and I still feel like a featherweight, you know, but I come in this division. But if Dana White gave me the opportunity to go back there in the featherweight division and win, I'd take it.
Charles, over here. At the pre-fight press conference, Michael Chandler described his wrestling as anti-jiu-jitsu. You spent a large amount of time on the canvas with him in the first round, so what did you make of his grappling and his strength on the canvas?
Bom, o Michael Chandler na pré-conferência, ele falou que o wrestling dele é anti-jiu-jitsu. Você passou uma boa parte do primeiro round nas costas dele. O que você achou do anti-jiu-jitsu dele?
Cara, isso aqui é MMA, não é wrestling, não é jiu-jitsu. Minha vida inteira eu fui um grande lutador de jiu-jitsu, sou um grande lutador de jiu-jitsu, só que a gente tem que ser o melhor em pé. A gente tem que ser o melhor no chão, a gente tem que ser o melhor no wrestling, a gente tem que ser completo no MMA. Por isso que hoje eu venho de 9 vitórias seguidas, porque eu aprendi isso. Então não adianta você ficar falando que você é o melhor wrestling, você é o melhor Muay Thai se você não for completo em tudo. Eu sou completo em tudo. Se você vier trocar porrada comigo, você vai cair. Se você me botar para baixo, eu vou te finalizar. Então não adianta você ficar falando. É como eu falei, ele tinha uma oportunidade. A oportunidade ele usou para ficar falando. Ele falou que eu ia, quando ele botasse pressão, eu ia cair. Ele falou que ele era o melhor wrestling. Pô, beleza, ele me botou para baixo, ele encaixou umas finalizações, ele fez o trampo acontecer. Mas meu braço foi levantado no final.
You know, this is MMA. I'm a pretty good jiu-jitsu guy, but this is MMA. You need to be good striking, you need to be good wrestling, you need to be good in jiu-jitsu. You need to be good in everything. Yeah, he said that. He said that, you know, he could use his wrestling and everything. But, you know, if you stand with me, I'm going to stand with you. If you do jiu-jitsu with me, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu with you. If you do wrestling with me, I'm going to wrestle with you. So, guess what? He took me down. It didn't.
A knockout or standing. So what did you see in Michael Chandler that showed you that you could finish him on the feet?
Você previu que você ia nocautear o Michael Chandler. O que foi que você viu no jogo dele que te deu essa confiança?
Eu errei o round, né? Eu falei que ia ser no primeiro, foi no segundo, mas as coisas não são como a gente quer, no tempo de Deus. Cara, eu venho falando o tempo inteiro. Não adianta eu ficar pensando naquilo que meus oponentes vão fazer. A gente tem que trazer e jogar em cima da mesa aquilo que a gente pode fazer. Eu sei do poder de fogo que eu tenho, eu sei do meu jiu-jitsu. Então eu entro lá em cima para acabar a luta. Se eu não finalizar, eu vou nocautear.
You know, I just got it wrong. I thought it was going to be the first round, it was the second round. But, you know, I know what I can do, and I came to or knock out or submit.
Hey, Charles, over here to your right. 28 fights you've had in the UFC. It's the longest road that any fighter has ever had to get to a UFC title ever. The longest road. How does that make you feel?
Bom, 28 lutas até você chegar a esse título. Foi a estrada mais longa que qualquer outro lutador teve que percorrer para chegar a esse ponto. Como você se sente com isso?
Se sinto pronto. né? Eu pensei muitas vezes que tinha que ter chegado logo, mas como eu falei, não é no nosso tempo, é no tempo de Deus. Hoje eu estou pronto, hoje eu me sinto uma máquina, um leão no meio dos leões.
I feel ready. It's like I said, it's always in the time of God, but now I feel like a lion. I feel like I'm ready.
Did any point during that long path over the last 10 plus years ever have any doubts that you would get back to here? There was a lot of ups and downs, you miss weight sometimes. Like, did doubt ever creep in?
Durante esse tempo todo, teve muitos altos e baixos. Algumas vezes, se você não conseguiu bater peso, teve algum momento, teve dúvidas sobre isso, no seu coração?
Cara, isso é passado, eu nem lembro disso. Estou vivendo o presente, o momento de agora.
That's the past. I'm not even living that. I'm living the present. I'm living this moment now.
It seems like over the last, maybe the last few years prior that, Brazil didn't have champions at one point, and it seemed like maybe there was a little bit of a lull as far as Brazilians in the UFC. Do you feel like there's a little bit of a resurgence that, you, Figueiredo, are kind of leading right now as far as Brazilian fighters?
Passamos tempo com poucos campeões brasileiros, mas agora você tem o Davidson, agora tem você. Parece que é uma renovação do Brasil.
É tudo no seu tempo, né? A gente teve grandes campeões, eles fizeram as histórias deles, merece todo o respeito do mundo. É como eu falei, agora é uma nova história. Agora a gente tem outros campeões. E o meu nome está lá hoje. Hoje a gente pegou e escreveu nosso nome.
Yeah, everything's in the time of God. Other countries had great champions. Now it's our time again.
Thanks, Charles.
Charles back here. You have anything to say with Conor McGregor trolling on Twitter? He said, "Congratulations on being 11th lightweight champion. I wonder who number 12 is going to be." You have any response to that?
O Conor mandou no Twitter, falou: "Parabéns por ser o 11º campeão do peso leve. Eu gostaria de saber quem vai ser o 12º." Você tem alguma resposta a isso?
Conor, se preocupa com o Dust, depois a gente conversa.
Conor, worry about Dustin. Then we'll talk afterwards. We'll talk about it.
And now that you got the belt, I know you take pride in being a Brazilian. How big a deal will it be to go back and be able to defend your title on your home soil if COVID goes away?
E como seria grande se acabar a pandemia e você puder defender seu título no seu solo no Brasil?
Seria maravilhoso, né? Imagina. Ô Conor, já que você é tão bravão assim, bate no Dust e vem lutar lá na minha terra, no Brasil. E você vai cair sentado na minha frente, amigo.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Conor, since you're so tough, first of all, you beat Dustin and then come over to Brazil and I'll put you on your ass.
Tem que ver primeiro, né? Se ele vai passar, né? Ele tem que passar primeiro do Dust para ele poder falar alguma coisa. É mais um desses caras que fica falando, fica enchendo linguiça por aí. Entendeu? É mais um desses caras.
Yeah, he has to pass Dustin. He's just one of these guys that talks a lot. He's got to beat Dustin first.
He's fired up now. And final question for me, champ. Give us some inside the emotion when you flipped over the cage, you jumped in, you saw your homeboys, you talked to Dana. What did you say to John Anik and Joe Rogan? What was going through you, the emotion of when you realized your dream of becoming a champion?
Aquele momento emotivo, você pulou por cima, falou com teus amigos, falou com Joe Rogan, falou com Dana. O que você estava falando para todo mundo?
Falei pro Dana, para ele continuar acreditando em mim, para ele acreditar em mim. Agradeci o Joe, né, ele foi um dos caras que mais falou que eu merecia essa oportunidade. Então, pô, tava ali, tava feliz, só tava curtindo o meu momento.
I was liking the moment. I told Joe, "Thank you so much for believing me." I told Dana, "I'm not a boy anymore." I was just enjoying the moment.
got my photo here. Oh.
Love it.
Yeah, all right, forget the other. I'm going home now.
That's it, huh?